Hello from the Daily Dad. Today, we're a little bit out of the way in terms of where a concentration of good Chinese restaurants normally would be. We are up on Shady Grove Road near the hospital, but as you can see here, my car has a coolant leak. So while I'm waiting for the tow truck to arrive, we'll have a chance to try a new place for lunch, and that means that you get to come along for the ride too. On this episode, come join me for lunch at Kung Fu 12 Szechuan, today on The Daily Dad. Weirdly, a lot of Chinese places are putting Kung Fu in their name. This place is Kung Fu 12 Szechuan. There's also Kung Fu Kitchen in downtown Rockville. There's Kung Fu Tea. What is it with the Chinese people and including Kung Fu in the name? I mean, I've never seen a Korean place called Taekwondo Korean Barbecue, and I've never seen a Japanese place called Judo Sushi, although that'd be pretty cool. Someone please explain this to me. Also, this place is not really a Szechuan restaurant. There are other styles of Chinese cuisine on the menu here, so it really has something for everyone. Now, before we order, let's take a look around as this is my first time here. And anyway, this is a nice looking place. It opened up about a year ago in late 2023, and it took over the space previously occupied by Taipei Tokyo. I like the lucky red accents and dark woods. It's got a lot of natural light due to the wide storefront. They've got soft jazz playing over the speakers. It's got a modern sensibility to it, along with some traditional Chinese accents. Well spaced out, no tablecloths. Yeah, definitely a place you can take the family, or a place where the workmates can all come out for a group meal. More importantly, the regular menu and the lunch menu look pretty reasonably priced and also tasty, although I don't know exactly what this is. Someone please explain this to me. Today though, on our first visit, let's stick with the lunch menu, and actually I'm intrigued as there are some options here that I don't normally see at other Chinese restaurants on a dedicated lunch menu. So on my first visit, let's go with the black pepper beef with pineapple. You know, this is pretty good. It looks as good as it tastes. You get a serving of white rice and a spring roll and a small cup of soup. No drink. Water is fine, of course, but you can add a pot of green tea for just $1.95. The portion here is pretty decent. The beef is quite tender. The black pepper sauce has bite to it. Yeah, I like this. And the pineapple gives it some sweetness to counter the pepper sauce, although I think the pendulum from heat to sweet swings pretty far here, so maybe mangoes would be a better choice. Oh, so far so good, and once my car is fixed, I'll be coming back. As promised, now that my car is repaired, I am back and am going to stick with the lunch menu. This time, I am opting for the cumin lamb. Kind of a bold choice, but I think the kitchen here is up for the challenge. And as with the black pepper beef, this dish is also quite good. The lamb is tender, it's flavorful, it's got just a moderate amount of heat. It has a more consistent taste than the black pepper and pineapple dish I tried last time. Both are good and we're 2 for 2. Fingers crossed that the restaurant can cross the finish line and impress the daily wife and both of the daily kids. I'd love to see this restaurant charge through the finish line. On this night, I am going to let the daily wife take charge in placing the order. She was born in China, and she always reminisces about how good her grandma's cooking was. We're here on a Saturday night. The place was only about 1/3 or maybe a half full, mostly Chinese patrons, which is always a good sign about a Chinese restaurant's authenticity. Another sign? Well, that would be the misspelled words found on a menu. Still, I find it quite endearing. Spell check is overrated. I'm going to start with the easiest to explain dish and then finish off with the hardest to explain. And the easiest is the scallion pancakes. Kids always love these. And even I find fried dough that's oily to the touch with a hint of scallions to always be welcome. Not all Chinese restaurants make this well, though. Some versions are a bit too doughy, but both kids give this a thumbs up, and I liked the crispiness of this as well. Honestly, I think someone should find a way to sell scallion pancakes at carnivals as a less sweet alternative to funnel cakes. Now, let's talk about their braised beef noodle soup. This is a tale of two cities. The chili oil soup base has a nice density and will set your stomach on fire. There is a generous amount of beef, and it is surprisingly tender given the size of the cuts. Admittedly, I kind of wished that the noodles were hand-pulled, but not every Chinese restaurant has the time or the resources to do that. However, I've got to warn you that this soup is also very salty. I mean, none of us could get past the level of saltiness. We're talking bacon plus anchovies plus pretzels times 3 salty, and my bloodstream started to tingle. Yikes. Please consider this your public service announcement on this one. Next, we chose a combination of string beans and eggplant in brown sauce. All the veggie dishes on the menu sound like great options, although this one had the most romantic name. And yes, the string beans and eggplant got along nicely. Yummy eggplant and fresh string beans under a blanket of brown sauce. It was my daughter's favorite dish. We are going off the homesicker menu for the next selection because the Daily Wife spotted something that her grandma used to make. She talked about a special way to gnaw on each chunk because the fish is not deboned. And while I appreciated her reminiscing about her youth, for me, trying to remove the meat from the bones was just too much work. Otherwise, this was her favorite, and she said that she would order this again. Next up, Peking duck. This will be a half portion and it comes with the standard accompaniments. Sadly, this was no one's favorite dish. Surprisingly, the duck was kind of dry, and that's weird because a lot of the meat is dark, fatty meat, and even that had lost its moistness. Was it just an old duck? Was the duck not really that fresh or prepared several hours earlier? You know, in some circles, Peking duck is considered the national food of China, but this version is not doing a good job of representing China at all. We were all kind of disappointed with its preparation. It's a head scratcher to be sure. If you order this, maybe your luck will be better. Finally, what's my favorite? I actually liked the duck bone soup the best. When you order half a duck, you get the meat on one plate, but the kitchen will take the bones and make a nice soup. And I actually liked that. It wasn't too salty. It had kind of a soul-soothing effect as you swallowed it. And I actually preferred adding the Peking duck pieces to my broth to amp up the umami. Yeah, that was my favorite. The Daily Sun, though, merely thought that all of the dishes were okay enough. He didn't have a favorite, and I could see his point. The food tonight was okay, the experience was okay, but it didn't leave enough of a positive lasting impression where this would be a top-of-mind dinner destination. Compared to the many other options that we've discovered and enjoyed, this one isn't going to displace our list of top 5 go-to dinner joints. Man, that's too bad. Kung Fu 12 Szechuan started off strong with its solid lunch options, but faded at dinner time. Regardless, their lunchtime options will certainly bring me back again, and I would say that it's a good enough option if you live closer to Gaithersburg or Germantown based on all the takeout orders they receive. So, Kung Fu 12 Szechuan. On the plus side, I liked the variety of veggie dishes on their dinner menu. The lunch specials that I've had are all quite good. I like the atmosphere. The dinner experience, though, is a bit muddled. I think it would help if they pared down their menu somewhat to allow them to focus on the quality of the most popular dishes. And I think it would be great if they had a part of the menu spotlighting their Szechuan cuisine, while the other most popular stuff could be supporting players. Anyway, lunch is why I'll return, but they'll need to improve a few things regarding their dinner experience. I think of it though as more of a growing pains issue rather than a permanent problem. So while the Daily Wife tries to put into words why she wasn't all that impressed, I'll say that Kung Fu 12 Szechuan gets a marginal thumbs up from me, along with a dose of optimism that they will figure things out. Hey, this is the Daily Dad reminding you to try new things and to be happy.